Hey guys, well, today is my performance review, and I want to see. I hope I have enough emotional intelligence to just not lose control and get pissed off or anything. Just state the facts and let things be on their way. Yeah, I think it goes back to that philosophy. To know comes the solution. Knowing comes the solution. You know, just being aware that you have some limitations, some personal limitations, sets you off in the right way to find the solution. You know, so I'm aware that I don't have as much emotional intelligence, especially when it comes to something like this. It's very hurtful. Now that I'm aware of it, I won't let that get to me. Speaking of limitations, I had a live video viewer. I took a look at this guy's page, and he said that he's just trying to overcome some mental limitations, and that's a really big topic for me, because I went through an extensive discussion with another fellow about psychological limitations, and he just couldn't accept the fact that you know, he just had his concept of the world in a certain way. And I've had extensive debates with him. Like, I mean, it must have lasted for months, maybe even a few years, a couple of years. He's no longer with the company, but it ended up being a game, because I don't know what he was up to. He was just too clever for me. He started to figure out where my buttons were, and he would just push them, and he took advantage of my weaknesses of my sore spots to trigger my lapses in self-control. And he knew I would get passionate in debates, so he would set me off and then say, oh yeah, my bad, and then leave, just like I kind of did with, you know, earlier in my video where I did a little mischief with the guy. I said, man, if you're a real man, you should bet your bike. So he would do that kind of stuff to me, but he would do it on a daily basis and drive me really crazy. And the deal is, I had to manage him. So, you know, I hated to deal with him, because he would just start an argument just because. But the funny thing is that I learned that he truly did have a different concept of the world, in such a way that it affected the way we worked, so and the way things got done. So it took me a while to figure that one out, and his viewpoint of me was that I was just very flaky. And, you know, to a degree, I'm pretty flighty. I do things, and I change the game plan quite often, you know, if things don't work out. So okay, so he thought I was messing with him. So hey, what a nice guy there. Let me through. After my altercation on that tantless road, it was crazy. Ah, well, bygones be bygones. Ah, whose Suzuki is that? So, okay, so where was I? Alright, so psychological limitations. Let's see. One of the limitations was that whenever I walk over to his cubicle, and I mean, he'd be working on something for like 2 weeks, like working on some mechanism or some design, and I'd take a look at it, like within 5 seconds, I'd say, okay, you got to change this and that, because that isn't right, and you got to do this. And oh, he got really upset, because he would say, hey, you know what, you didn't even look at this, man. Yeah, I thought this through. and it happens quite a lot especially when in engineering and in design, every freaking person is a mechanical engineer. Electrical engineers, program management, everybody's a mechanical engineer. Everybody comes over and says, well, you know, why don't you just put a pocket here? And why don't you build a little brakes here, you know? And it just drives me crazy. It drives everybody crazy. Basically, we tell people to just, you know what, just stay out of it. And that argument, we say, you know, we've looked it over for a long time, and here's why. Okay, so don't make us explain it to every Joe that walks by our cubicle and forces us to spend 30 minutes with each monkey, you know, to explain why we did why we're doing things and not doing things a certain way. So basically, it was that argument. But what he didn't understand was, and I'm not boasting here, man. I've been doing this for a long time, like a really long time. So I will spot, you know, design deficits and stuff like that in a heartbeat. Another thing was, he kept, he just didn't understand. You know, that was his psychological limitation. He just didn't understand you can get to the point where you can spot things right off the bat. Another thing was golfing. He was really into his golfing, and his brother is, I think, does golf for a living or something. His brother makes money golfing, and you know, I never swung a golf club in my life, and he kept telling me, you gotta try golfing, you gotta try golfing. And it just wasn't for me. It's just, nah, you know, I'm not into golfing. It doesn't do it for me. And finally, after a couple of years, he finally got me out to the driving range. And I said, okay, I'll just do it. I'll try it. And I did it, you know. I swung a golf club. I mean, he spent a good half an hour explaining to me position and proper grip and all that stuff. So on my first swing, I missed the ball. Now everybody at the driving range is looking. And on the second swing, I hit the ball. I'm going to have to continue this.